Everything started in February 2023, right 2 months after the closing ceremony of the World Cup. Katara Studios, with whom actually we worked on this closing ceremony, came to us and said that they want to create another show with us. Katara Studios approached us without, any solid concept yet. We didn't know if it will be a mashup of the song how it was during the closing ceremony of the World Cup, or it will be separate song, or it will be something different. But Ahmed had one sketch and description of it that he showed me, and in that sketch we have sand dunes on the field of play and the giant screen in the middle of it. And also he mentioned that it would be nice to use somehow mirrors, maybe metaphorically, as a symbol of the society. And seeing this sketch, I immediately remembered that in 2019 I had a concept. I have a giant crane that lifting up that giant screen from the sand, and the main feature of that concept was the slow movement of rising up. But at that time this concept seemed too complex and difficult, and we decided to put it in a table waiting for its time. And in 2023 I thought maybe it's time. Here I began to think what AFC really represents and what countries are part of it. And it turns out that the territory of the Confederation is quite huge. It lasts from the Saudi Arabia and Qatar to the Australia, including China and Japan. I thought that it would be nice to represent the size of this region somehow in the stage design. And at that moment I came up with an idea that it would be nice to show the east part of the Confederation with help of Sea of Petals because of blossoming trees in China and Japan, and it could be surrounded by the sand dunes because of Saudi Arabia, because of Qatar. There also was an idea to place a singer in a very special moment of the show on the top edge of the LED screen in a beautiful dress with a beautiful train, but for sure it was refused because it wasn't safe. In addition to that idea, I developed another one second. It was inspired with the shape of sundials, because all of these discoveries was very important for humanity. Yeah, I just thought that it would be nice to play with that fact somehow in the shape and in the design of the stage. And in that moment I remembered that for a long time the main industry of Qatar was pearl diving. And where there is a pearl, there is a shell. I didn't want to make the shell of a standard form, of the standard shape, and I thought that it would be really interesting to make the shape more elongated than usual, and to make the design of that shell with a metal finish that will look like a spaceship. And I understood that it will work perfectly in contrast together with all the natural motifs around it, with the petals, with the sand dunes. And that moment I started to realize that actually the concept is ready. When we finished working on the concept, we discussed with the technical team of Katara Studios the best way to rise the screens. And the first option was to use a kind of hydraulic mechanism, and the second option was to use an aerial system. And actually all of us preferred the second one because it allowed us to hang all the 5 screens under the roof. So it helps us and it gives us an opportunity to transfer the weight of the half of a stage from the field of play to the roof in the air.
сейчас на поле решается, будет ли здесь открытие или нет.
Может, они количество репетиций сократят?
Не получится, потому что знаешь, сколько минут на бамп-аут?
Что такое бамп-аут?
Убрать все с поля. 14. Знаешь, сколько заняло убрать все с поля?
Час.
62.
So now we're going to the meeting. There will be tech team, there will be Katara Studios. We will discuss how we can shorten the time of the bump out and also the damages on the pitch.
Yeah.
There will be, I think, all of the contractors. There will be LOC probably, and there will be Katara. So, like, the main issue, you know it, right?
Yeah, I think that the main issue is the crew because they're not so fast
Yeah,
as
that's true.
They could be.
And like the biggest problem right now that they may cancel the rehearsals on 10th, like the dress rehearsal.
Yeah, because they need to prepare the field for
Exactly.
for the game.
Exactly.
Okay, guys, I have the news. So all good. Dress rehearsal will be as planned. Everything is good. All solved.
If I were to describe the narrative of the whole show in the 2 words, it would be the story about the simple man, about the person who didn't believe in himself, who noticed only his flaws but not advantages. And seeing these 2 jackals from the ancient legends, Kelileh and Demneh, decided to help that man. And they called upon the animals all over the Asia, and these new characters become the man's new friends, support him and explain to him that the flaws and advantages is a combination that make every individual unique. When creating the content, we wanted to set the screens like a mirrors, to act like a mirrors, to reflect everything that happens on the stage right now. But at the same time, we didn't want to use it like a broadcast. We want to use it with visual metaphors to reflect everything, but from the man's perspective, what happens in his mind during the performance. We did some research looking for micro shots of the animals that we needed. For example, it's Komodo dragon, rosenfinch, camel, tiger, and so on. In addition to the shape and color of the eyes, different animals have different blinking mechanisms. Initially, we wanted to create a 3D scan of an actor, but for various reasons it became clear that it would be much better to create a 3D sculpt of him using a lot of photographs from different angles. Also, his costume was completely recreated using the photographs. As mentioned before, the show featured not only 1 main character, but 3. The man, the blue jackal Demneh, and the red jackal Kelileh. And in the final scene, Ahmed, creative director of the Katara Studios, wanted to place giant figures of the jackals in the center of the stage, positioning them like on the ancient illustration to the original legend. This was one of the moments when we actively used an AI to create the concept of these inflatable jackals. And since the concept was done, we passed it to our 3D modeler to turn this concept into a real 3D model. And after that, this 3D model was sent to the production team to create a real, actual inflatable items. In our case, these were PixMob devices. These devices are programmable. They can change color and intensity, turn on and off, and link together into a unified array. This way, you end up with a huge circular screen made up of 80,000 pixels covering the entire stadium. And during the final segment, we also have some significant moments of the show when we have, for example, transition with the birds that repeating and mirroring on the peaks mobs as well, and water splashes, levitating petals, and rotating starry sky.
Очень красивая. Вообще, конечно, арабский язык красивый. Песни такие прям вообще. Я до конца досмотрела. Инсталляция ваша шикарная. Очень красиво, Манюшка. Молодец. Чонсу. Балапуськин мой.
Поздравляю всех.
Спасибо.
Ну дайте я хоть обниму вас, что вы сидите.
Давайте все вместе обниматься. Алло, ну что за дела?
Магрифа, иди сюда.
Трудно скажешь обнимашки.
Это что-то какие-то...
Просто
Как всегда. Ой, натворил ты, конечно, делов, Артурчика.
Юра!
Ой, пойдем.
We would like to thank each individual person who was involved, who is like hundreds of people or maybe 1,000 for their contribution to this show. It is always a great pleasure and honor to be a part of such large-scale projects and to work with the best people in the industry.